Hi, everyone. Hey, welcome back. Welcome back to another continued series with the business leadership experts as Donna continues talking to us about the 5 pillars of financial strength that every business owner, you've got to know these things. And we're lucky because I can't think of a better, more qualified individual to help us on this particular topic than Donna Phoebus. She is the virtual CFO at Temple Executive Coaching. And in our past episodes, Donna has already enlightened us. 3 of the 5, we're going to be on number 3 today, but she's already enlightened us to liquidity, the importance of liquidity, the difference between profit and profit margin. But in this particular segment today, Donna is going to be educating us to everyone's favorite topic, and that is sales. So Donna, how should an organization, some ways that they can view increasing their sales?
Well, there's 4 ways. But thanks for having me back, Mike. I always have fun with these. I don't know why, but these are just fun to me. Maybe it's because I get to talk to you and I know other people are listening, but just that added value between, our client meetings and everyday work. So thanks.
Yeah, we get to talk about something other than clients.
Yeah, exactly. So there are actually 4 ways that a business owner can look to increase their sales.
Okay.
So I'm going to go through each of these points today and just give a few tips. And hopefully, when people are listening and when they walk away from, the podcast, they'll, have a way that they can move forward with a few of these tips that I'm going to share.
Right.
So,
even if they just pick 1 or 2, they don't have to do all 4 of them. Just pick one of them and work in that area. Yeah.
Yep. And just, kind of work from there. And, doing one will, make a difference. So,
right.
So quickly, the top 4 or the 4, 4 ways are increasing the number of customers that you want to work with.
Okay.
Increasing the number of times that a customer returns. So repeat business.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Increase the average value of each sale. So you're increasing the value of each sale. And then the effectiveness of each of the processes within your business.
Okay. Good.
Okay.
I got
So
it. All 4.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, no, all 4. We got those. We got all 4. Increase the number of customers that you work with. Increase the number of times that customers come back to you. Right. Increase the average value of each sale. I want to hear about that one. And then increase the effectiveness of each process within the business. All right.
Yep. And processes are my favorite, by the way.
I thought they would be.
I'm not much of a salesperson, but it's obviously it's one of those 3, most important pieces to a business. So,
but if you got a process.
Yep. So let me give you a brief overview of each one of the points.
Okay.
And so let's start with the first one, which is increasing the number of customers that you want.
Okay.
So these are the ones that you want to work with. So this is what is referred to as a front end activity.
All right.
And this is the face of your business. This is your first, what is that? When you first meet somebody, it's their first impression of you, right?
Right.
So this is the first time a customer is going to deal with you.
Got it.
So a few tips that can assist you with this and make, your first, what's the word? I just lost the word. Holy cow. Your first impression, to be a good one, right?
All right.
So that would be having a unique core differentiator. I refer to them as UCDs. And what this is it is a specific reason that a customer wants to buy from you.
All right.
So as an example, let's say that you own a string of automobile part businesses.
Right.
You have a string of them. Okay. So there's several. To stand out from your competitor, you might offer same-day delivery of parts to the repair shops that you work with.
Okay.
Right. Or maybe you give discounts to trade customers that spend, a certain amount of money with you each month.
Right.
As an example to that, let's say that you are the exclusive parts for the Toyota dealership.
Okay.
So they buy all of their, parts that they don't buy from Toyota, they buy them from you.
Okay.
So because they would be a big customer and you would offer them a discount because you have so much business from them.
Okay.
Okay. So tip number 2 is tapping the power of the phone. Yeah, people forget about the telephone. It's outdated. Right. We text, we do this, we email. People are afraid of the phone.
Right.
They avoid it at all costs. I know I do. Sales is not my favorite. I love talking to people, but sales always makes me nervous.
Sure.
So in today's world, the phone is highly underutilized.
Okay.
I worked for a broker. I actually grew up in the industry and spent about 15 years learning the business and growing up in it. Eventually was the operational daily, I watched over the company. Okay. Anyway, we used to call it smiling and dialing.
All right.
Have you ever heard that term?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stay positive.
So that was the foundation of a freight brokerage. Get on the phone and start calling people, right?
Right.
So, and that works for not only finding new customers, but repeat business, calling ones that you already have done business with because they're already a warm lead.
Right.
Right. So the tip is to have a phone training or a performance system that can help your employees increase the effectiveness of the outcome of their calls.
And that's where you were talking about, if you're not I'm going to say the word naturally gifted salesperson, or you just said you found it increased your anxiety level to jump on the phone.
Yeah.
But there are some things that you can do to decrease that anxiety.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yep.
Right? Okay.
Yep. It improves conversion. It reduces their anxiety, which as a result will increase the conversion rate. It just happens naturally. So if you have, I'll call it a script, but it's not something that you read off, and sound like a robot. You become familiar with it, you practice it, and you kind of go about your call, in your words, but you go about it in the same fashion. And it's, something that you would strategically build, something that, is going to work. And it's effective, right?
Right.
You're setting your employees up for success. So it's just, one of those things that you need to have in place.
Right.
So tapping the power of the phone.
Okay.
Smile and dial.
All right.
So the third thing I'll mention is implementing a sales system. This kind of goes with what I just talked about.
Right.
So this is how you're going to sell. So how you're going to get the prospect interested, you're going to keep them interested, handle their objections, and ultimately close the sale.
All right.
So this is done in a way that you build trust and understanding with the customer. You're building credibility, and you do that just by having the conversation. One of the best ways that I've ever been able to see, learn, and actually this is how I do things is sell without selling. And so basically it's a relaxed conversation. You go into the conversation with no expectation. It's kind of like a get to know you. You ask questions, you provide value up front, and that's really not the way that a typical sales call will go. So it catches people off guard, and it's super easy to stand out from the crowd just by doing a different process that is effective than what your competitors are doing. So
that gives them a reason to smile when they're dialing, if they have a process. Right. If they're not the most gifted or talented person on the phone, if you give them a script, You practice the script over and over and over until you can make that script your own bit of you're able to kind of interject your own personality into that script, but you got to give them something to smile about.
You have to set them up for success. And if they're like me, between, getting new clients and having, those conversations, when you're getting to talk to people and you're adding value and you're helping them, at no cost to them, it makes you feel really good. It does me. That's part of why I do what I do, is because it just gives me that extra boost and confidence between, getting or landing a new customer. So makes you feel good, puts a smile on your face, it becomes not work, right?
Right.
So, so number 2, we're going to look at how we can get customers to return.
Okay.
So this is called back-end marketing. So in the first, you're increasing the number of times that, or excuse me, the increase the number of customers that you want, your front-end activity.
Okay.
In this tip, we're going to look at the customers that return. So back-end marketing, it's increasing the number of times a customer buys from you, which is vital to the long-term health and profitability for your business.
Correct.
So here, as an example, it can cost you up to 6 times more to get a new customer than to sell to a current or customer that's already bought from you in the past.
What do you mean by that? Explain to me a little bit more why you say that.
Yeah. So if you think about it, when you originally went out to find that new customer, and you're smiling and dialing, it took you some time.
It did.
It cost you a lot of time and marketing dollars to find that customer, right? Would you agree?
Correct.
Okay. So any sale that's after that initial sale, it basically doesn't involve any cost. You've already spent that money to find them.
Okay.
So in essence, you keep more of the profits on any residual sales, any sales that come after that first sale.
Okay. All right.
All right. Another way that you can get customers to return would be to go through and classify your current customers. So make a list of them and then put them into 4 groups.
Okay. So you're kind of segmenting them out. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So your first group, I'll call them group A. These are your favorite customers.
Okay.
Obviously that's going to be a different type of customer for every person that would do this.
Right.
But let's say that they're easy to deal with. They come in with a smile on their face. They're just that wonderful person that you always want to help every day, right?
They pay on time. Yeah.
Oh, that too. They pay on time. They pay cash. They pay it right away.
Right.
Group B would be those potential or those customers that would be potential group A customers.
All right.
Okay. So they're still great, but they have the potential to be awesome, like super great.
Okay.
Right.
Right.
All right. So the third group, or I'll refer to them as group C, they're not ideal. So, but you'll let them walk through the door and you'll help them out.
Right.
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 Group 4 or group D is the ones where you want to have a sign on the door that says don't enter.
Yeah.
No
Do not come
solicitors.
back.
We don't want you in here. Right. You don't want to deal with them. You don't care if they ever come back. So those ones, so leading up to my point on this is you don't want them to return.
Right.
Right.
Well, what I like that you're saying here, Donna, is to have your group A, your ideal customer. That's just it. You've got to have an avatar as to what your ideal customer looks like. If you're working pretty much on your own, you have to be able to go through and find and figure out what is my ideal customer. If you're working within a large organization, your salespeople need to know this is an ideal customer for this particular company, right?
Right.
And in Group D, I know we're kind of we're kind of poking fun of Group D a little bit, but sometimes Group D, it's not so much an attitude as it may be, you know, they're just kind of a transactional customer.
Right.
They've purchased one time and one time only. Yes, maybe they're, you know, and they could be a big client financially, revenue wise, but you got to fight to get them to pay every dollar.
Yeah.
So you've got to be able to go through and segment out what your avatar is for your particular ideal client. And then that Group B, maybe not the perfect ideal client, but man, if you could just get them to move a little bit more, they could join the A club, right? Yep. Excellent. All right.
So additional idea for getting a customer to return is to ask them to come back.
Oh,
so simple, it's ridiculous.
Okay.
Right? Most business owners or employees or whoever, they fail to ask customers to come back. 68% of customers that leave for your competitor, they do that because of a perceived indifference. Example, they didn't feel valued. They didn't feel that you cared whether they ever came back. So they almost feel like used, and it was just a very cold, you know, relationship, you know, kind of like what you said about, you know, the group where, you know, you just, you know, they just didn't get that warm and fuzzy where they would want to come back and deal with you again.
Yeah.
So the easiest thing that you could do is say thank you for their business.
True.
A lot of people don't say thank you. People want to be thanked. They want to feel valued, like they matter to you. So important to say thank you. So the last tip on this section, in section 2, is to just provide awesome service. Go above and beyond their expectations.
Okay.
And what I mean by that, again, is a simple example. And let me use a contractor. Okay. Let's say that you are doing a remodel job for someone.
All right.
And everybody, it's like a well-known fact that a lot of contractors leave messes.
Sure.
I've experienced this. It's no fun to go out there and pick up water bottles and pop cans and nails, and although the nails are kind of come in handy because, you know, they come in those little packs of 10 or whatever that fits in their little guns.
Yeah.
They're everywhere.
Right.
Anyway, so let's say that you, as the contractor, pick up your tools and the leftover materials that you didn't use. But not only that, you sweep and vacuum and clean the floors of the area that you were working in. How many contractors do that? Right?
That's a good question.
You're leaving the work area cleaner than you found it.
Ooh,
so your customer can literally move their furniture in and start using the space that you've created and built for them. So
I like it.
Let's say you're a window installer.
All right.
Okay. Did you wash the windows after you installed them? You know, remove any fingerprints and dirt from the installation itself.
Right.
So the last thing somebody wants to do is have to go clean a window. And it's like, couldn't they have washed their fingerprints off? That's what I would think. I'm kind of anal about stuff like that, but it takes away the normal, you know, what people kind of come to expect from working with a contractor. If you set yourself out as, you know, clean and they picked up after themselves, that sticks out for people. It's like, holy cow, these people actually cleaned up. I didn't have to clean up anything. They just did it all for me. It was so awesome. That for me, if I was dealing with a contractor, would be a major UCD.
Right. Okay.
Because it would set them apart. And even if you did beautiful work, they're going to be talking about your work. They're going to be talking about the fact that you cleaned up the mess.
Yeah.
Right?
Clean your mess. Yeah. Clean the windowsills. Yeah. Clean the windowsills. Clean the window
Exactly.
track. Okay.
Exactly. So the third one I want to talk about
Okay.
is increasing the average sale value.
What does that mean?
Would you like fries with that?
Ha.
Have you heard that? Everybody's been through the McDonald's drive-through and somebody said, would you like fries with that, sir?
Right.
Would you like that supersized? They're always upselling,
Yes.
they're always
Okay.
increasing the value, the average value.
Got it.
So the other, what you can do is you introduce complementary products. I'll use another McDonald's example.
Okay.
When they came out with what do they call those ice cream deals that they came out with?
Okay.
Special little ice cream fun things that nobody else has.
Right.
They would say, would you like, a McFlurry? That's what they were called. Would you
Okay.
like a McFlurry today? Some
Right.
people are going to say yes, and the kids are in the back saying, I want one of those, mommy. I want one of those.
Right. Yeah.
It's an add-on, right? So
Correct.
it
Okay.
enhances your initial sale.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So customers are going to come to you for help and guidance. So it's important to let them know about all of the options, including additional products and services that are available,
Right.
to add on to the original purchase,
Okay.
their original reason for coming to you in the first place. So, you've spent a lot of time and money into getting the customer
Mhm.
into the business.
Correct.
So why not leverage that and have that return on investment, be a little bit more,
Okay.
so always, leverage where you can.
Got it.
All right.
All right.
All right. The fourth point that I want to talk about today is your increasing the effectiveness of the processes within your business and each process. Okay.
Okay.
So this is a step that basically ties the others together.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So in order to accomplish the first three that we talked about, you have to make sure that the processes are operating efficiently in the business.
Okay.
So without changing or improving the way your business operates, it would be difficult to successfully implement the strategies.
True.
Okay.
Okay.
So let's say that you want to increase your sales, conversion. You can't do that if you keep doing it the same way over and over, and you're not implementing a process to help your employees.
True.
Would you agree?
Correct. You're correct.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. You're not going to sell fries with every Big Mac if you're not asking people, hey, would you like fries with that?
Right.
Because they might not be thinking about it. They got work on their minds and they don't even think about fries. And they're like, oh yeah, I want fries. Right?
Right.
I want a McFlurry. I got to have dessert after I eat my Big Mac.
One of those things you didn't know you needed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What's another 500-600 calories? I mean, don't forget the salt,
Right.
So, okay. A few ideas of how you can increase the effectiveness. All right.
Right.
Develop a mission and goals. This is a main foundational piece to every business, and it doesn't matter what business you're in.
True.
You have to develop a mission and goals.
Correct.
Goals help you strive to see, what you're reaching for. It gives you that point of why am I doing this? Oh yeah, I want to grow to $5 million. Oh yeah,
We're trying to get to, we're trying to get to 5 million. That's the goal. We're trying to get to 5 million. It's not just another sale. It's a sale that contributes to a specific goal in mind. True. Very good.
Exactly.
Okay.
You want to do a SWOT analysis. So you want to understand your strengths, your weaknesses, opportunities, and threats.
Okay.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Knowing those, you can utilize your strengths, work on the weaknesses, the opportunities that are out there. You can capitalize on those, and then your threats, which, could be risks involved, within your industry, on how you can be proactive about reducing your exposure to those threats.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
So working on your business instead of in it. That's a huge one.
Right.
A lot of owners are so involved in the day-to-day activities, they don't have time to work on their business, which is when you're moving to that CEO role where, you have time to train and develop staff. You have time to develop these processes and implement them, teach, your staff and involve them in doing it, check out healthcare, opportunities, and just overall, make your business better because you're focused on it. You can be out, talking to customers and developing those relationships and those types of things.
Correct.
All right.
Okay.
Systemize your processes. Have processes for everything that you do.
True.
So when you do something the same way, and obviously there's going to be a little, fluctuation,
Right.
but having a structured process and a foundation,
Correct.
it helps you to increase your profitability. It helps your employees. It gives them direction, and so they have, an idea of how they're supposed to do something,
Correct.
when they're supposed to do it. Less errors happen, less things fall through the cracks, and it just makes everybody's life easier. It's like having a policy, like big corporations, they'll have a handbook and they have policies.
Right.
Everybody follows the structure. And the more structure you have, the better foundation that you're going to have to support that growth that you're seeking.
True. Your revenue cannot outpace your process. If your process is built for $1 million, there is absolutely no way you can pile a $5 million growth company on top of a process that can only sustain $1 million in revenue. It just won't work. It can't happen. That's where we see a lot of organizations tap out, or they stall at a certain level. Like you said, Donna, when you make the sale, and we just talked about repeat business. What's the handoff if you have a salesperson and a customer service person? What's the handoff process from sales to customer service, and then from customer service to nurturing and maintaining that client? Yeah, it makes perfect sense. Yeah. Lots
of things can fall through the cracks, and most of all, your customers are going to feel it.
True.
So you want a seamless process throughout, from point A to point D.
Right. Good.
Yeah. So the last thing on this is to increase your effectiveness with your processes is, build a team. You're going to build a cohesive team. You're going to provide that great environment. It's a healthy environment. You're developing the culture, which is a lot of what you share with companies. I'm teaching them, how to develop that strategy and the culture that they're after.
Right.
Very important, because it helps you to maintain employees. That comes out in your presentation to your customers and to your employees. It is something that is vital, right?
You have the right people in the right seats. Yeah.
Yep.
Excellent.
Yeah. So all these ideas that I've shared are things that I've worked with my clients on. So it's all practical, hands-on experience. And I've used them to facilitate my clients, moving up in what their goals and stuff were. So these are some things that I've learned, I've studied, and then implemented to help others to have, the success with growing their business through their sales.
Excellent. Excellent. Hey, Donna, thank you. Thank you again so much for sharing your expertise and covering this particular component. It's one of the favorites of most of our listeners, the 5 pillars of financial strength. And listeners and viewers, if you have any questions for Donna, don't just sit and wait around. Reach out to her. You can find her at Donna at Temple Executive Coaching. Or if you'd like to get kind of a free example of what her 5 financial assessments, what they look like, what these 5 critical points look like, go to our website, templeexecutivecoaching.com, and under our products and our services tab, go ahead and click that. You'll see an option under products and services. It'll say free stuff, I believe it is. Download a copy of her free assessment. You'll be shocked at how in-depth this particular five pillars of financial strength are, how deep it does go. Donna, again, thank you very much. Always a pleasure to work with you.
Yep. Thanks, Mike. We'll see you next time.
See you next time.
You've been listening to the Temple Executive Coaching Podcast, where we engage with experts in business growth for small and medium-sized companies. If you're an expert and would like to be featured on the Temple Executive Coaching Podcast, please email Mike Temple at mike@templeexecutivecoaching.com.